Are you an 8 on the Enneagram or not? If you're trying to weigh this up and sift through all the information out there and all the details, trying to separate instinct and knowing from data and different voices, I've put this video together to share 5 key insights that I've been using for years reliably to help people to work this out. So I'm going to take you through each of these 5. We're going to first look at what I call a reliable sound bite. One key question, inquiry that really helps to pull out a proper 8 response and how to tell that response apart from other types. I'm going to unpack the red pearl, a key insight that we're going to layer on. Then we're going to put the polarity on top of that. Finally, I'm going to share with you what the 8 on the Enneagram's harmonic is, so that you can finally tick that off and go, yes or no. And then, to put a bow on it, the growth path of an 8 is very telling, and it's going to help distinguish 8 from some other types that are commonly confused with 8. So we're going to be doing that. Your job's to sit back, enjoy the ride, feel into this, and of course would love to hear your comments and questions. Let's jump into this. When I'm with a client who thinks they might be an 8 because of tests or their own self-discovery, I ask them this question, and I listen, feel, and really deeply look for how they answer. Now, yes, some other types may answer in a similar way, but I'm looking for more than the words. So here's the question, and I'm going to ask it to you now. What is your response to betrayal? Now, other types of Enneagram may still say they're dead to me. They might still show this line in the sand. Or other types may say, it depends, Cole. It depends on why they've betrayed. I'll be very upset. But then I'll wonder what maybe I did to contribute to the situation. There's all these variants. But one of the true responses from an 8 is that this response comes from the red pearl, which is why we're going to unpack the red pearl. It's not a blue pearl response, it's a red pearl response. What you will see and feel is that there's no thinking, there's just pure, they're dead to me. And this is another and that's super important, even a healthier 8 that has grown knows this part of themselves. And this will distinguish 8 from its often mistyped Counter-Phobic 6, because Counter-Phobic 6 can be very much with the sword as well, but it's a blue pearl, not a red pearl. So this 8 response has they're dead to me, but it also has the echo of revenge. Now, revenge is not justice. It's not making wrong right. It's not canceling somebody and getting allies to bring balance and equality or to champion the powerless. That's not it. That's all Counter-Phobic 6 potentially, sometimes 1 on the Enneagram, not without the aggression, although it can be, I suppose. But in the 8, this revenge is, and I'm using this for effect to exaggerate and to land this, it's Mafia energy. It's you crossed me, you're right, you crossed me, you dead. Right? It's different. So it's very important, and I know I'm explaining this a lot, but it's in order to understand this. Now, it's not to say our 8s aren't beautiful, wonderful human beings. Oh my word, some of my nearest, dearest in my life, family, colleagues, friends are the most incredible 8s. But even they will smile and laugh and say, what you're not going to get from an 8 is a long essay about this. You're going to just get. So perhaps I'll just say up front, if you're unsure about 8 versus Counter-Phobic, because a lot of beautiful Counter-Phobic 6s which is an expression of 6, will watch this going, I relate to that, but not that. I relate to that. Please go watch my video on 8 versus Counter-Phobic 6. I don't want to repeat too much of that here. I do want to try and focus on 8. So let's say if you think, yeah, I have they're dead to me, Cole, but I don't have the revenge part. Or compassion is natural for me. It's not something that I'm growing to. Please do consider Counter-Phobic as a possibility and go check out that video for more. If you are an 8, this betrayal response is through and through felt in the body. And you will know that even at your healthiest expression, revenge could be that they're denied you, that they've lost you as a friend, or as they've lost your respect. Can also be a feeling of, yeah, they've lost my respect. A low expression 8 would take revenge in some form. And even 8s that I've worked with that have done a lot of personal growth work for themselves, they've told me how they used to enact revenge, but don't anymore. So that betrayal question and that word betrayal is my way of really pulling out of somebody's sharing to see, is this true 8? Are we working with a beautiful red pearl 8 on the Enneagram? Red pearl. Now, if you are an 8, you want me to get straight to the point. No use carrying on about 25,000 little details. Let's get straight to it, Cole. So I'm going to do my best, okay? Red pearl is a combination of gut, anger, resistance, plus impact. Gut does not mean intuition. It does mean a felt physical sense in the body, a kind of instinct. We can all be intuitive or not. Intuition is not just a red pearl thing. But if you are an 8, you already know this. You know that your body feels yes, no. Without the essay that comes with the blue pearl or the heart longing of a green pearl, it is because as an 8 on the Enneagram, you want to almost imagine that you have been built with a kind of military app wired into your program. And on the battlefield, it's my gut, knowing, enemy, not, decision, not even decision. It's more just like sword out, kill, back, done. And so that is connected to anger. Now, anger is a continuum, right? The low volume of anger is a rumble in the jungle, a grrr. High volume is rage. It is not likely that many people will see rage, but they do tend to feel, 8s have a presence about them where people sense your anger around you almost potentially all the time, like a sense of a mist. And 8s aren't uncomfortable with their anger. Anger doesn't disturb their sense of self. And with that anger is a gut reflex resistance, like I don't want it to be that way. I don't want it to be hot, or I don't want it to be cold, or like grr, that email, or grr, that thing that happened, or grr. It's this push against the way reality shows up. And feeling and sensing with the gut how you are impacting and how you're being impacted with that military app running in the background. So get a sense of how that is landing for you, and let's layer on the polarity to really crystallize this. So your primary polarity is I'm strong, not weak. Now, other Enneagram types may go, well, I like being strong. I don't want to be weak. Who wants to be weak, right? So it's not something that only 8s relate to. But that is why we need to connect it to the pearl to really understand this, and to that military app metaphor. Strength for an 8 is felt in the gut. Weakness is also felt in the gut. And an 8 really does want to take a sword out and eliminate weak. Patheticness. So you won't easily tolerate your own weakness, your own vulnerability, or others. Sometimes you'll feel like they deserve the protection of your sword. But a lot of the times, weakness will trigger anger, irritation, grumpiness. Like, how pathetic. So therefore, you will take a sword even to your own heart, which we'll discuss when we look at your growth path. Resistance is a type of pushback. And what are you resisting? What are eights resisting? Well, we're back to it. Weakness. Now, weakness means vulnerability, but vulnerability means emotion. It doesn't mean I can be hurt by others so much as it means all that fluffy feeling stuff that makes us vulnerable because it doesn't belong on the battlefield of life. That's what we mean by weakness when we talk about resistance. And remember that weakness irritates and triggers anger, and that an 8 feels impacted by weakness and wants to make an impact through strength. So that's why the lowest expression of 8 has this Mafia archetype, whereas the highest expression could be samurai. There's still weapons involved, you'll be pleased to know. If we connect the polarity to some of these keywords, you will see words like presence, command, willpower, being very decisive. An 8 knows in 2 seconds, yes, no, right? And power, our 8s enjoy power. They're not polarized against power. They, in fact, want power, want control, want respect, and it is my way or the highway. Can take revenge, or at least the revenge being you're denied my respect or my relationship. Have laser focus, are very resourceful. And I've often heard this said, if the house is burning, you want an 8 around. They're tuned into and understand the principles of war. Right? So this is a military mindset. Even if there is no war, an 8 may feel that business is war. Troops and the competition is the enemy. So you get that tone. So how are you relating to some of that? Or all of it? Of all the wonderful contributions that Riso and Hudson made to the world of the Enneagram, one of my favorites is the harmonics. So I'm going to show you a Cole version of the classic harmonic that 8 on the Enneagram belongs to see how you relate or not. So this harmonic that an 8 belongs to, I call the Purge harmonic. It is often referred to as reactive, which works just as well. But I've used Purge so that I have some alliteration, because I call the other harmonics positivity and practical. So a Purge harmonic means that when you're in the right space, in other words, it feels like you're not perhaps just on professional grounds, you might want to do some venting in order to connect and to bond, because the Purge harmonic needs some space to vent. A 4 vents from the green pearl, from heart and feelings and emotions, sometimes pain or suffering. A 6 vents from the mind, thoughts, concerns, worries, questions. And our 8 vents from the gut, irritation, pushback, resistance. So it's a red pearl venting. It's going to be a part of how you connect, how you bond, how you settle into a space. It will be too quick for you to go straight into practical without some of this. And you may even get irritated by too much positivity right up front, because your first need, if you are an 8, is your Purge harmonic. Hope that makes sense. If you relate to that, it's another big clue that you may in fact be an 8. Let's put a bow on it by looking at your growth path. Every type is connected to two other types. I'm going to be focusing today only on the growth path because it is the most helpful when trying to determine if in fact you're an 8 or not. So 8 is connected to 2 on the Enneagram. What this means is that the qualities of 2, especially the best qualities, not the weaker qualities, somehow are significant and specifically belong to how an 8 grows. When an 8 is at its lowest expression, it is as if that door to 2 is closed. When an 8 is at its highest expression, it is as if that door is open so that you gain access to these qualities and they help you to claim your wholeness and step into your highest expression. Just like working out, what does the specific apple tree need in order to grow? 8 specifically needs the best of 2 to grow. What's also useful about this is it tells us what is missing when you are in a low phase, when you have had a really tough time of it, and when there has been a lack of growth. When you grow, we see it more evident. So what is the best of 2 in order to understand this? And plainly speaking, which if you're an 8 you prefer, it is heart. Sorry about that. And you know this is true. I mean, my best clients and loved ones who are 8s on the Enneagram, they will tell me, of course, they have massive hearts. It's just that the program of the 8 is designed for military. And can you bring your heart onto the battlefield? No. And that's what makes it particularly challenging. So 2 is heart. It's also generosity and giving. It's also compassion, and it is plain and simple love. It's also connecting for the sake of connecting, just to feel the enjoyment of simple connection without agenda or strategy, without any swords or weapons involved. So the more an 8 can access their heart, lean into giving, love, and the vulnerability of the heart, the more an 8 grows. When an 8 lacks these things, they do become the Mafia, heartless, revengeful or vengeful expression of the type. But when an 8 accesses their heart, opens that door, you have a samurai with a heart. You have, sometimes I express this as, you have the innkeeper saying, come dine with me, come feast with me. And the enjoyment of both the strength of the 8 plus the heart of the whole 8. How has this all landed for you? What have you resonated with? I hope that this has helped you to either determine, yep, Cole, I'm an 8, done, can we done? Very interesting. Or yes, or no, with lots of arguments and thoughts if you're a blue pearl, or lots of green pearl, well, I'm not so sure about that. Either way, if you've enjoyed this content and you want to be notified of more, you know what to do. Like, subscribe.